Hey guys, it's Mama Cleo. Welcome to my channel if you're new. I decided today that I'm going to do a vlog about how I became a musician, how I started. I wrote a blog post about this, but I know videos are always so much more impactful and relatable, and I really wish all of the artists that I look up to have done something like this when they were younger, when they were just starting like me. So I hope that this video lasts a long time and that it helps other people who are just starting out understand that everyone's journey is different, and what my story was anyway. So I'm gonna just talk about how I got to where I am right now. Now I live in LA. I'm a musician, artist, weird person, and I record my own music now, but it's definitely been a twisty and turny ride, so I just want people to know that that's totally normal. So I was born in Staten Island in New York City. So Staten Island's like the 5th borough. It's like the Jersey Shore. People are from there. Everyone talks like this, you know, seriously. And it's sort of like, even though it's in a huge city, it's sort of isolated, and people never leave Staten Island, even though Manhattan's pretty close by. So I grew up sort of like in a small town mentality. I went to Catholic school. My parents are both immigrant families. So my mom is Puerto Rican and my dad's Cuban. Our family's pretty, low socioeconomic status. I still have a lot of relatives that live in the projects, or they're still like on welfare and things like that. Luckily, my parents were able to move out of the projects, so I grew up in a nice neighborhood. But it was always like really apparent to me that I wasn't super wealthy or, well off. I had to sort of fight for everything I wanted. Like if I wanted to go to Girl Scouts, I'd have to like beg my parents for $5, like that kind of thing. So yeah, I grew up in like a really strict, like, we're Hispanic and you're a girl, you can't do those things, you can't be sexy, like you have to love Jesus and stay in school, and like if you touch a boy you'll get pregnant, like all that kind of crazy stuff, which is fun to reflect on, but it's hard when it's actually happening. And then I hated middle school and elementary school because I felt like a freak. I used to come to school dressed up as a psychic. One time I came to school dressed up as President Zachary Taylor, who no one knows about, by the way. He was the 12th president, but I knew about him because I liked him. So I dressed up as him and went to school, and I used to beg my teachers to let me sing in front of the class and stuff. So I always loved singing and performing and being a weirdo, but I wouldn't say that I was very good at it until I turned like 12 or 13, and that's because I was practicing like crazy. I wanted to be a famous star from the time I was like 5 years old. I used to watch TV and just cry hysterically. I don't know if you've ever seen the old show Driven, where they tell the story of a pop star and like show pictures of them growing up and stuff. I used to watch Beyonce's and Usher's and Britney Spears and just cry hysterically like, I want to be there. And whenever I saw the Grammys and they said, you can be here, little kids, just work hard, I was like the kid at home crying. Like, I'll be there one day, oh my God. So you can say I've always wanted this. It's my dream. So I'm really happy I'm actually doing it now. I went to high school, and I was really lucky. I got into this public high school called LaGuardia that Nicki Minaj went to, and Azealia Banks, and Jennifer Aniston, Al Pacino, all these really amazing people went there. So I got a free education for high school in Lincoln Center, which is the performing arts capital of New York. Juilliard's across the street. So I learned how to sing opera, and every day I got to sing in high school. I loved it. I got to get out of Staten Island, so I traveled back and forth 2 hours each way, which was crazy, to high school when I was like 14. And but totally worth it. I got to sing, and I took 8 other normal classes, so my school day was super long. I didn't get home until very late, and I was always a really good student, which brings me to how I sort of got off track. I'd always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to make a huge impact. Being on stage is my favorite thing on the planet. I can't even tell you how amazing it feels to share music with people. But then I was a really good student. My parents and my family don't have a lot of money, so the fact that I had really good grades and an opportunity to go to a great college were like huge in my family. And then my senior year, I got accepted to Columbia University, which is an Ivy League school in New York, if you don't know it. And I got a full scholarship. So I had to go, and of course I was excited to go. It was like a dream come true for my whole family, and I'm obviously really blessed that I got to go there. So I went there, and then everyone tries to pressure you out of pursuing what you really love. They try to tell you that it's impossible to be a singer. You have a good education. Why would you do that? You should do something more stable. You should go to medical school, law school, finance, blah, blah, blah. So I tried everything, and I tried really hard to convince myself that I wasn't an artist, which is really sad. And I hope that everyone listening out there, especially younger people, know that we need smart artists. We need all kinds of artists. You shouldn't feel pressured just because you're good in school, or you got a scholarship, or you have debt from college, whatever, not to do what you love. You should do what you love. And if you're older and you want to change, you should do that too, because even though it's hard, it's so worth it. So anyway, I tried to be pre-vet, so I worked at a vet office. I studied chemistry and all this stuff. I hated it, so I stopped doing that. And then I was like, okay, like maybe I'll study literature and political science. So I learned like Korean and French and political science, international relations, and then I was going to go to law school. So I applied to this scholarship, and I got it for LSAT courses. I ended up not doing it because I really didn't want to. And I worked in criminal law, which was really cool, actually. But of course, I still missed music. I hated it. So then the last thing I did was apply to a job at a hedge fund and one at Google. And I got both of the jobs, which is really crazy. And I decided to work at Google for a summer, and I hated it, even though it's a really cool story, and I have an experience of working at Google, like in the movie The Internship. I still was just not happy with it, so I decided to graduate with no job. And I just started doing freelance web design, which turned into like a really good source of income for me. And now, but even then, even with all of that freedom and knowing that I love music and that I wanted to be an artist more than anything, I still didn't commit to it because I was so afraid of it. I graduated about a year and a half ago, and just about half a year ago in May, I decided, so it took a year for me to sort of work through all my horrible feelings and fear to accept that I wanted to do this, and I really want to do it, and I wanted to become Mamacleo, because that's who I really am inside. And when the first week that I decided I was doing music, it was so painful. I woke up every morning totally nauseous. I was depressed. I had no idea how to start. I was just lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't think anyone would ever listen to me or talk to me. Now my audience is growing and people really connect to me, and I love it so much. So I really just want to encourage people, no matter where they are in life, no matter how many things are going against you being who you really want to be, you really should become that person and go through all the pain. it's necessary. It was so painful, and I didn't even know how to write a song, how to talk to producers, what a producer was. I didn't know how to get fans, and no one talks about these things. Like what kind of singer I should be, what my stage name should be, all this stuff. It's really scary. And then you finally make a song and you're like, okay, I made a song. What do I do with it now? So there's just a lot to learn. But it's really worth it because I'm happier than I've ever been now. Even though I'm still just starting and still just beginning to make music and I'm not famous or anything yet, I'm just really happy that I'm finally being who I am. So that's how I sort of, circled back to my dream, and I really feel so grateful that I had the guts to say no to all the things that were wrong and to say yes to the harder path, because it's really allowed me to become myself, and hopefully it's going to continue allowing me to share that with all of you. So if you're an aspiring artist, I'm going to make more videos like this just so that you can look at these and know that you're not alone in how you're feeling, and also just so that everyone can get to know me better. Okay, I love you. Bye, babes.